Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Dominaria United sealed video here on the channel. I'm going to be going through the build, the games, and we are going to dive in. Big shout out to Wizards of the Coast for giving me an early access preview account for free, so I can make this content a day or two early for you folks before the set comes out. So, pretty awesome stuff. Let's see what rares we got. We got a land, so never something you'd love to see. We did get a couple of graveyard synergies. Urborg Lurgoyf, Namata Primeval Warden. We're going to read them in more detail when we're actually building. And then Defiler of Flesh, so potentially some black synergies, and then Valiant Veteran's not the best. There's not a ton of soldiers. And Defiler of Instinct is actually fantastic, so maybe we'll try to go that direction and maybe play Jund or red, green, splash black. Or we'll see what we do. It looks like it's going to depend a little bit on our commons and uncommons to some degree. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to go through the colors and choose to pick out the cards I'm actively happy playing in each color. So like in white, I'll go through each card individually so you know whether they're good or not. But Artillery Blast, not a card that I'm a huge fan of because it's a little bit niche. You can't always kill exactly what you want because it's not always tapped. You don't always have the domain, so not my favorite card. Vanilla Sleeper, reasonable 2-drop if you have some synergies with like tokens to sacrifice. If it's just a vanilla 2-mana 3/1, not great. Destroy Evil, generally a sideboard card because both effects are kind of niche. Valiant Veteran, it's a fine 2-drop. You'll play it just because if you have any other soldiers, it's fine, but it's not a priority 2-drop, even though it's a rare. Charismatic Vanguard, mediocre 3-drop, not a huge priority. Citizen's Arrest, that's like the one white card I've seen so far that I'm like, okay, this is a good removal spell. I'd be happy playing this in my deck. In sealed especially, you need removal. Mesa Cavalier feels like a solid card to me. Just you gain some life, it's a flyer, just a reasonable card. Stall for time, medium, not the best if you are not able to use the blue ability, but it's just a fine card. Coalition Skyknight I like. I think it just helps you push through damage, keeps your small flyers relevant throughout the game because of the enlist ability. Griffin Protector, medium card, works well with token synergies, but we don't have any token makers. And then Argivian Phalanx, so mediocre card, not my favorite. If you can cast a token maker and then cast this on like turn 4, it's pretty solid, but other than that, it's like the ceiling is not that high on this card. Even if you're casting it for relatively cheap, it generally takes a lot of setup, and the 6-mana 4/4 Vigilance is just not a great card on its own. So generally white looks mediocre. We have a couple of cards, but nothing like too crazy going on, and I doubt we're going to end up playing white. Blue, Combat Research, not a card that's as good in sealed as it is in like maybe dedicated draft deck that prioritizes some cheap evasion. So it's just kind of tough to use. If we do have some flyers though, we'll consider this card. Impede Momentum, also much worse than sealed. Sealed is much less tempo-y and it's more about card advantage, so temporary locking down your opponent's creatures not as good. Impulse generally is better in sealed. I don't know if I would put it in the like same category as Citizen's Arrest, but it is a card that I would play in sealed because you generally have some bomb rares that you'd want to be able to find a little bit easier. Academy Wall, not my favorite card. Just not a huge fan of the 05. Phyrexian Espionage is definitely a card we would play in sealed. You just want any card advantage you can get. Soaring Drake, just a rock solid card in any format, pretty much. Just 3-mana 2/3 flyers, just a good card. Talus Lookout, better in sealed than it would be in draft. So in draft, I think these are kind of close just because this is a mana cheaper and a 2/3 flyer is pretty good. But Talus Lookout is definitely a nice 4-drop in sealed, especially because you just want the card advantage anywhere you can get it. And then Tideful Turtle, mediocre, but Scrying is nice. Tolarian Terror, if you have enough instants and sorceries, is fine. Also, you have more time to just cast cards like this, so blue looks reasonable. Nothing like as a standout card. Like these 3 cards are pretty reasonable. Probably kind of similar to the spot the Citizen's Arrests and the Coalition Skyknights. These 3 cards are kind of like the ones I like here. And Impulse maybe. So blue's reasonable, but nothing too special. Let's look at black now. Butterfly Swarm, not the best card. Just 1-mana 1/1 flyers, not as high impact. Death Touch ability is kind of nice though. Urborg Repossession is nice because it's like a card advantage card, so I do like that if I play black-green, which we already know I have a black-green rare. Splatter Goblin just seems like a nice 2-drop. Just, you want 2-drops that can kind of do stuff later, and this one does kind of threaten to trade with 3-drops a lot of the time. Raids Frightful Return. Reasonable card. Kind of a 2-for-1. So you kind of just want all the 2-for-1s you can get in sealed. Defiler of Flesh, reasonable card. 4 mana, 4/4 menace is just a rock solid card, and the cost reduction can be helpful. Monstrous Warleech. So I already had some blue cards that were reasonable, and this thing can potentially be pretty sizable and feel self-mill synergies. We'll keep this one in mind. Warhorse, not my favorite. Just a little bit inefficient. Like 4 mana for, like, even though it has a nice ability, it's like very fillery. Because even if you're making the 1/1, it's like a little bit over costed for what it gives you. Tattered Apparition, just expensive. I don't really like this card. Paying 2 mana for the ability means that you kind of have to sink your whole turn into making it a reasonable sized creature. And especially when you consider that blue has a 3 mana 2/3 flyer, this card just looks a lot worse. Sengir Connoisseur, definitely kind of nice because it does include your opponent's creatures. And then Writhing Depress. Important to note that black doesn't have a single removal spell for me. Kind of unfortunate. Red, Flowstone Infusion, there's some removal. +2/-2 kills some small stuff. A little bit worse in sealed because generally the creatures are a little bigger because players aren't playing as many small 2-drops and stuff. Hammerhand, much worse in sealed. You can't build an aggressive curve because you can't reliably get 2-drops. Phoenix Chick, not a card I love in draft, and it's even worse in sealed. It's just harder to assemble the army you need to make this good, and also you're not as aggressive, so yeah. I think this card's a bit bad. Kind of like a complicated card too. Not being able to block is a pretty big downside. Smash to Dust, kind of a sideboard card, I think. So not really a factor for best of 1, but seems like a pretty good sideboard card. Thrill of Possibility, nice for filtering, gets you some closer to your bombs, helps you avoid flood out, so this is a nice card, but not like a crazy good one. Yosha Declares War. I don't really think the artifact theme is there. This card's just very slow and doesn't really do what you need it to do. It like pings a creature and makes a 0/2 and it's for 4. So if you have like multiple artifacts, it can be good, but I don't think that's really supported that well. Flowstone Kavu, just a reasonable 3-drop. Just kind of definition of like pretty relatively solid. Keldon Strike Team, pretty good, especially if you can enable the tokens, but that's not as relevant in sealed because you're not as aggressive, so aggressive cards get worse. Warhost's Frenzy does work well with the Keldon Strike Team. Just a nice little buff for all your team, and if you don't really want to play it if you can't enable the black part, because being able to draw a card is pretty nice too. Coalition Warbird is a card I'm a pretty big fan of. Just gives you a nice big creature that can like push through extra damage. Defiler of Instinct is fantastic. This is like the main pull towards green for me. I mean towards red for me, not green. It's red. Well, pull yourself together. Enthrall to the Pit, pretty nice and sealed because you have more time to use this as a removal spell if you are playing black and red, because it's a little slower. And then Maria's Outrider is a reasonable card, like just 5-drop that can potentially do 2 or 3 damage to your opponent if you are playing 3 colors. Pretty nice. Green is where I'm hoping we have a lot of good stuff. We got Strength of the Coalition. If we were playing white, this would be good, but if we're not playing white, this is just pretty mediocre and bad. Bite Down, nice removal spell, so I would put that here. I guess just in terms of like black cards, I would definitely put this one down if I was thinking of like the same thing I did with Citizen's Arrest. I would kind of do it like that, maybe. Braids might not be good enough, but kind of like the cards that I think are good in black. And then in red, I kind of like these guys and this guy. I don't know if the Coalition War quite gets to the same power level though. Red's kind of medium. But yeah, Bite Down, definitely a card I like. Nice removal for green. My Iconoclast, good 2-drop. Urborg Lurboy is interesting. It's like, you kind of need some creatures for it to work. But it's kind of cutesy. I would like to kind of see how it works, so maybe I would try it out depending on my creature count. This card's pretty reasonable. 4 mana, 2/5. The 5 toughness means it's going to be kind of hard to kill with a single blocker, and then enlist means you can make it a threatening attacker. Badger, mediocre. Giving creatures menace, not the craziest thing, but 3 mana, 3/3 is already just a solid body, so don't let the inability to use the kicker effectively throw you off. Not a huge fan of Vine Wall. I feel like it just doesn't do much. Just 2 mana to pay for 0/2 worth of stats does not seem great to me. And then Broken Wings is more of a sideboard card, but it is more playable in sealed, because in sealed, a lot of like bombers or flyers are really annoying to deal with, so I would probably main deck that in sealed. Ooh, we have 2 Magnum Goth Sentries. I think those cards are pretty good. Elfhame Worm is also a pretty big creature, and then Sojourner is sometimes playable. So we also have a Wrath, Caves of Koilos, some black-white lands, a blue-black land. Balmor is much better in draft because you can be more aggressive and you can build your deck with more instants and sorceries. Let's just talk about Wrath, I guess, for a second. This card's really good. It's just not in my deck because I don't have instants and sorceries. I don't really have enough good white cards, but it is a pretty good card. Let's just check out the other ones. We have Najal. This card is nice too. Casting sorceries with flash and also just copying stuff. Some extra lands. Namata. If an opponent creature would die, it gets exiled and I get a Saproling. The problem is I don't have removal spells to consistently kill my opponent's stuff, but this card is pretty good. There's Rulok Mons, another pretty reasonable card. Helps me get lands or make extra 1/1s. Salvage Mana Work are good for fixing. Yes, sir, Law Dog. Yes, we are. Meteorite, pretty reasonable fixing. Salvage Mana Work, reasonable fixing. I'm not the biggest fan of Grotto, but I could see playing it in the slower deck. And then I've got a couple of blue-green lands and a Tatyova. So maybe we go like heavy base green, and then we go a little bit into blue, a little bit into red, a little bit into black. That could be reasonable. We could see how that looks. We would be missing out on like one of our best cards in Defiler, but I don't think our red cards really are good enough to be worth getting a double red card in there. Let's just put all of our reasonable kind of green guys in here. And let's see what our blue splash, if we splash blue and... because I think we want to play blue for the Tatyova. Kind of want to play black for this guy. And then that would also make the Urborg double kicker reasonable. So we kind of have good lands for it as well. And that's just the general instinct vibe I get from this, is that this would be the best deck for me. So this will, if it costs 3 less, and this is a 5-mana 4/6. Can think about it. I don't really have the ability to enable it, so I don't really care about that. Monstrous Warleech is a synergy card with the Sojourner, because if this thing dies, then I have an 8/8 leech all of a sudden. Maybe that is worth playing. That's kind of some cute synergy. If I play black, green, and splash blue, then I can play this guy. One less for each creature in my graveyard. I have 15 creatures and some self-mill. And this also does synergize with the Monstrous Warleech. For what repossession, a 2-drop that's reasonable. Braids is return. And then if I'm trying to splash blue, I mean, my blue cards are pretty reasonable. I have this guy. I have Phyrexian Espionage, which I can kind of splash, maybe. Double blue card's tough. I think I like this build. I've got a little bit of fixing for a couple blue cards, plus the kicker on these. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blue sources, kind of, for 2 blue cards. So that's pretty good. How many blacks are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 black sources, and 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think this is pretty reasonable. So 7. I'm going to try this card out. It might not be good, but I'm going to try it. I'm not a huge fan of the Battlefly Swarm. It's just a little bit small, and kind of holding up the extra black mana is an annoying thing to have to do. I don't think I want to go into red for the Rulok Mons, even though I do have this card. Like this card, I think the blue cards are better. Okay. But yeah, I think this is going to be the build. We don't have a ton of removal. That is a weakness of our deck, but we do have some cool synergies with the Leech plus these big guys, and we have some big creatures that can potentially trade or do things like that, but we don't have any removal other than Bite Down. But it's not like we have the option of playing it. The only removal spell we got that really like kills anything is Citizen's Arrest, but we don't have enough white cards to support that. So we're going to see how this build does. It's not the best sealed deck I've ever had, but it's far from the worst, and it's going to be interesting to play. I'll see you folks in the games.
If you enjoy my videos and want to support it, you can do so at patreon.com/NicolaiBolas. Now is a great time to join because all patrons gain access to my Dominaria United tier list, where I grade every card in the set on an A through F scale. Patreon is easy to set up. It can be canceled at any time if your situation changes, and it is very transparent so you know exactly what you are getting with your monthly pledge. I really appreciate everyone who helps me continue to make content, and without further ado, let's get to the games.
Welcome to round one. We actually have a pretty good hand here. We got the Mana Worker. We got some other stuff. I don't know. It's not the best hand. Now we have our one removal spell. Big Death Touch creatures are actually pretty nice because if they get multi-blocked, they always kill a bunch of stuff. I forgot I added this card. This card's totally reasonable to play, but it is a great draw here. Wow, they already have all colors. No, they don't have black mana. What the heck? Well, this card's kind of scary, not gonna lie. Might have to kill this. Now they have all their colors or domain. Just natural domain. No fixing what's... I mean, they didn't have to cast any, like, ramp spell or land searching. They just have, like, every color. A lot of dual lands in their deck, it looks like. This card is scary enough that I probably will use my only removal spell on it. Opponent just playing that Broker's Lifestyle, carrying it over from New Capenna. You know how it is. Oh my... What is wrong with the world? What is happening? That is wrong. What my opponent just did is so wrong. My opponent could really screw me up here, but I have to do this. What? What the? What? Why? Why did my opponent surrender? What the heck? They still have this guy. This is a 5-mana 5/7. My deck is not good enough. This is the only kill spell I have. Yikes. Yikes. What if they just draw a forest, play Silverback Elder, and then I cannot kill it, ever? I have to play this thing to try and trade with it. It's like, oh my... Well, the sweet, sweet taste of victory. Well, I was giving this opponent the benefit of the doubt last game because it was like, oh, you never know what happens. Why do they surrender? I wonder, maybe something happened in real life. But then I just match up against them again, and so the fact that they just kind of made the last game really uninteresting by rage quitting, and now they're just coming back in, is just really not a good look for the opponent. We'll play this hand, but I am concerned about the fact that they pretty much took a game that was kind of interesting and just left for no real reason, and now they are just back for round two, and feels almost a little disingenuous. I'm going to keep this card so I can make a discard. I have time, it looks like. But yeah, that's, I was definitely, between rounds, which you folks on YouTube don't see, I was mostly talking about how we shouldn't just assume that our opponent conceded because I had killed their two guys, and that it was probably an in-life emergency or something happened, but the fact that they immediately re-queued just tells me that they were like raging or something, and that's not a good look. Oh, the Menace. So if we draw a land here, we're in great shape. This could be fine. Do we want to keep hitting land drops? 100% we do. So let's do this. This will help us hit our land drops. Right now we don't really want to trade damage. We can play Meteorite to kill this thing if they tap out of black. Which they do conveniently. I'm just gonna play this guy though. Sure. So my graveyard is not full for that. It's a 1-2 right now. I could play this, and then if a creature they control would die. I just want to kill their 2-2 right now, though. Set up my mana. I have 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, and so that means next turn I can potentially double spell, play this and this. They're playing the Vine Wall. The thing with Vine Wall is because if it searched your whole deck, I would be much more on board, but you don't get enough options, I don't think, to make it great. Adronius. Luriferous. Kind of just want to play this thing. We'll save this so we can kick it because we have the bird possession, so we can kind of use it as like a searching tool. The Sojourner is really annoying here. Okay. If I want to start attacking, I can attack with this thing and tap that guy. But I'm going to wait till I'm a little bit more stable before I do that. So I have Tatyova in the deck, which is a pretty good thing for this sort of board stall. I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, so I can kick this to look for Tatyova. Double kicker. It's a 6-7 now? That's huge. Let's go. And this would be an 8-8, so I think I'm going to get back that guy. I can return 2 permanents. So I can get that guy and that guy. Or I can have this thing die and then I get back that and something else. That's pretty good. Okay, that's kind of a trippy interface for that attack. I'm fine making this trade now because it'll make this thing bigger. This card's pretty good. If you're double kicking it, it feels like. It's going to be huge. Hello, Musical. Nice to see you. Okay, that feels like the obvious trade. They want to keep this guy around. Alright, Lurgoyf continues to grow. This is such a sweet card. Good callback to Tarmogoyf. Cool design. Cool artwork, cool name. This thing grows. I like the repossession. It's going to get back Lurgoyf once it's traded off, potentially. And this thing, which also has synergy with this thing. I think that's cool. Such a cool combo. This thing making it an 8/8. It is almost like playing a best-of-3 game against the same opponent. They conceded game 1, and I'm in a good shape for game 2. They haven't drawn their Shanna or their Johnny yet, though, so we have to be careful. Oh, okay. Okay, they did draw their Johnny, I guess.
You're all part of the great machine that is Phyrexia. We are watchful eye and sharpened steel.
That's a cool draw. Silly flippers. So if I kick this for 3 mana, I could still play the Monstrous War Leech. I can get 1 more permanent, and I will choose to get the Barkweave Crusher. I don't need to pay it with Kicker, because it's already as big as it's going to get. Now I have several cards that can go after a Johnny. I did make this guy a little bit worse, though.
Join us in perfect harmony.
Gosh, the Ajani voice lines are also pretty... Oh, no. Okay. Need to kill this Ajani. Trades are good for me because they grow my Lurgoyf and let the Elfane Barb attack. Kill Shanna and the Atrocity. That feels pretty good for me as a trade. Hold this in case they have discard. I've already used my card draw spell, I think. Yeah. Get wrecked.
We have allies everywhere.
See, that felt more reasonable for them to surrender there, because I have like a dominating board presence instead of them having their like crazy 5-drop thing. Like here, I'm gonna kill them in like 2 turns from here, because I attack, kill the Ajani, attack them for like 7 or whatever it is, or 5, and then the next turn it's like, okay. See, that's like a reasonable concession. The first one, I don't really understand, but we won the best of 3 against that opponent, and I'll see what's next round. Welcome to another round. A new opponent, which is nice. We have a keepable hand. Crystal Grotto doing nice. You cannot Twitchy Dave, unless it specifically says non-attacking creature. Yeah, I definitely, that's a sort of interaction where you would maybe expect it to work that way, but it does not. I'm going to put this on the bottom. It does have synergy with my Yavimaya Enforcer, but here I just need a land to cast my 4-drop on time. Wow, I almost botched that and didn't play my Splatter Goblin. This is an interesting card. Sojourner. they want to kill this, they can kill it. I'm okay with that. Oh yeah, it's when the land is bad. Okay. I was rereading this card. I was like, I was pretty sure it's a landfall ability. Oh, interesting. Well, I think they're going to maybe regret not trading these off. Now my Noata can kind of do some stuff. Thank you so much, Mitch, for the subscription. I really appreciate the support. 26 months. That's a long time. That is over 2 years. Wow, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mitch. Welcome back. Thanks for helping my channel. So, if you're wondering, folks, why I didn't attack there, the reason I didn't attack is because I would like to make sure that if they have, like, one removal spell, they don't just completely demolish me. So, like, yeah, they have a removal spell. And I don't get demolished because I have my blocker guy here. So I can block and trade. Just gonna play a 4/6. Kinda just beats everything they have. Broken Wings is pretty good if they do have Citizen's Arrest. Which they're a white deck and sealed, so eventually. Oh gosh. That is a yikes. So I now have 6 lands, so my next land is going to be a 3/3 flyer with haste. Okay, I'm toast. This card is scary. It's not, I'm not actually dead though. Wow, I can't actually cast that Yoba and kill this thing. I guess killing that thing does take precedence. Perfect. I was hoping to bait them into a jump block. The Sheoldred is going to kill me, though. I do have Bite Down as my only kill spell that can deal with it, so I have to draw that. I can sack this to kill their 3/1. I think that's worth it. Oh my gosh, have fun at Dronies at work. Have fun at your pre-release, Pekinski. Oh my gosh, I found my only answer. Holy heck. I'm just gonna go for this now. Oh my gosh, we're in the game. Got a block there, easy block there. Don't really need to do that. I'll just attack with the 5/5. Holy heck, I drew my only answer. That's huge. So now lands or spells are good draws for me. Oh, that's so brutal. Come on, man. Never lucky. Oh, they don't understand. If they kill the Yavimaya Sojourner, my monstrous Warleech truly becomes monstrous. So they go up to 19 and they go down to 10 because their block. So now I've got my 8/8. If I can start drawing lands to make some flyers, I'll be in good shape. Definitely winnable. Come on, lands. Not even kidding. That was pretty dang good too. Pretty dang good. Okay. It's a 5/6 now? Okay. I can even get a land back. Ooh, interesting. Okay, I think I'm gonna attack first. Should have done this pre-combat so I could get the land back, I guess. I think doing it post-combat makes sense in case they did want to trade off the Shieldred, though. Hmm. No, I think okay. Good idea. What? That was terrible. I milled all the lands I wanted, only one creature. Brutal. No! Being very careful with this. That's so unlucky. This card is so bad against Shieldred stuff. I'm very disappointed that Yeah. I'm very disappointed that I could not draw a land there, because I needed that land. Like, a land there was kind of like the only reason I cast that spell in the first place. Because now I'm on a 3-turn clock, and I don't have the extra flyer to start hitting them with that. I can cast this with Kicker, though, which could be relevant. Come on, land. I'm begging you. I can't believe this. Okay. Gonna cast this thing with kicker. Gotta be careful with this land, I'm learning. Menace. 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 So they can block one creature if I attack with all. They're at a functional 17. If they block one creature, let's just say they double block my biggest guy. So let's just say they double block this guy. They go up to 17. And they take 5, 8, 13, 17, 18. If they double block this thing. So if they double block my biggest guy, they go to 17. I deal 1, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 16. Oh, I'm 1 off. Oh my gosh. If only I could have drawn a land. Honestly, so unlucky. I need to draw a land this turn. I think casting this as a trampoline next turn is a better bet than anything else. I need to draw a land and then cast this as a haste scry. I cannot believe my Tatyova has just done nothing because I can't draw a land to save my life. So brutal. I mean, I made 1 flyer, but... Also, I was 1 off of killing them. Big yikes. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be absolutely joking. Wow. I think we got there. Okay, cool. Mathematically had him anyway. Complains after he mathematically wins the game. I just was tilted that I couldn't draw a land, but wow. I cannot believe we beat the Shieldred, especially because they got it back. That card is a house. My goodness. That was crazy. Holy, Fire Monstrous Warleech is so sweet with this card. What a cool synergy. Our deck is pretty cool. Nice. See you folks next game. Welcome to another round. We are going to keep this hand. We have all of our 2-drops. Starting off with a 2-mana 3/2 trample could do a lot of damage. Video shoot with Farmer sounds like pipe. It's a 2/3. We'll attack and then Splatter Goblin can threaten the trade. Okay. Filling our graveyard is also fine, makes the Lurgoyf better. I think we're going to play this and then play the Lurgoyf. Potentially mill something big. Or we play the Lurgoyf and then play this thing so we have even more chance of milling. Oh, that's even better. Yep. I like it. Definitely want to attack. Wow. Filling our graveyard for the Lurgoyf. So that's good. And then we can mill ourselves more with the Leech to give ourselves even more chance of hitting some more creatures or a big guy or something. I like the deck that I have right now, currently, J-Burns. Another creature. This feels like Tarmogoyf. It's a 6/7 for 2 mana. Let's go. I mean, technically I paid 4 for it, but still, pretty cool. The fact that I didn't hit any of my big guys, that's fine. I only have 2 of them in the deck. I wish this thing was a 5/5, but such is life. Oh, they also have the Lurgoyf. I'm not going to play this Tatyova because I want to get the 3/3 pretty much guaranteed. I'm going to let him do the double block and then wreck him. I changed my mind. I'm going to play Tatyova just so I have an extra attacker. If they kill Tatyova, I kill them, so that seems worth it now. What is with me and never being able to draw a land for my Tatyova? They can't double block the Tatyova. Goyf is lethal. Got some other good stuff. Nice. Got the win. This deck is really performing well. The Goyf has been great. I've just got some massive guys. The Warleech feels good too. Wow, I'm really liking experimenting with these graveyard cards. Feels like pretty cool stuff. See you folks next game. Welcome to another round. We will keep this. Got some Phyrexian espionage. We have all of our stuff for this guy. I'm debating whether or not to save this until we have 5 mana. Okay, Florahedron is... I mean, Flurry fine, well, not Florahedron, but is a sort of card that I am not afraid of in any way, shape, or form. I have a lot to do at the top end here, but I don't think this game is going to be particularly quick, so I think I'm still just going to save this. Get the extra cards worth of value. Okay, that's like the best possible use of Final, I will say. They got me good there. I feel like a lot of the, like, yeah, that's... See, I don't think the card's good if you're trying to enable fixing, but if you just need any body that replaces itself, I guess that'll do. Oh, no. Getting owned. No. Are they going to sack it? They are not. Huge. I'm just going to take that guy down. You sure you don't want to sacrifice your Magnagoth Sentry? Oh. Interesting. I do not want to sack a land. Maybe I was supposed to play Splatter Goblin and Yavimaya Iconoclast instead. Braids is looking really good. I guess maybe I was supposed to cast this guy. We are in deep trouble. Oh, we got trouble. Why isn't... Oh, this doesn't get a counter. Oh. I misinterpreted that card. Fair play. That actually works out. No, it doesn't. That's not how Indestructible works. Huh. Oh gosh, you're right. This card is kind of scary and constructed. Just 1 mana. And it has flash. I will say, if this Braids wasn't making me sack lands, I would have been in much better shape this game. Well played, Freelancer of 16. Well played. Welcome to another round. We shall bounce back from our last one. This is a good one. Good hand. So one of the reasons why, let's just pretend I hadn't drawn this forest. The reason I would start with the Tangled Islet is because if I draw a 2-drop that's green, I would like to play it then. And I had a swamp, so that would be possible, but I did not have an untapped forest. So if I start with this and then I draw a green 2-drop, I am out of luck. It's funny because I wonder if you have a couple of War Leeches, if it's always worth playing this card just so you have a chance of getting an 8/8 from milling. Oh no. I'm in deep trouble, chat. Braids is terrifying. Especially on turn 3. So here's my thought. The combat tricks in this set, there's the Death Touch and Indestructible one, in which case I'd rather block Braids so that I don't take as much damage. Because that gives a +1, because it doesn't give any permanent stats. But there's also +1/+1 Indestructible. So I'm going to block here. Because if they do buff something into a 3/3, I want to be able to play exactly. So the reason is now they're both 3/3. So if I play my monstrous Warleech, or this guy, more specifically, the Namata can now blank both of their guys, whereas if Braids was a 4/4, they'd still get to hit me with it. So now I get to play Namata. Now at least if they sack cards, they get owned. Or sack creatures. Sure. So you see, I knew the combat trick in the set, which is always valuable to know. And because I knew the combat trick, I was able to leverage that knowledge into choosing my block more intentionally. Now, it's always... there's also generally a strategy of blocking the creature that forces them to use the combat trick, instead of the ones that are going to trade. But that was the general thought process there. I'm just going to play the Elfame Worm. Another 4 toughness guy that can block their stuff. It's hard to say what they're looking for. They could have all the lands they need. Okay, I'm fine making that trade because I get to get a 1/1 out of the deal. Now I'm pretty sure they don't have a combat trick that can keep that thing alive. Like, they don't have another copy of this or they would have used it. Gonna get rid of the braids now, and I can use this even. This flyer is really annoying for me. I'm just gonna get rid of my saplings. I just need to. Oh, I actually have a reach creature. Never mind. I'm not gonna sacrifice the saplings. I don't really care about any of their cards right now. But I don't want to tap out of using this thing's ability right now either. So the reason I'm killing that guy is because I would like to avoid putting this in their graveyard for them to resurrect it. Okay, maybe they'll forget that Namada has reach. I forgot I had reach, and I have it in my deck, so. They do not. No! Lurgoyf and Broken Wings both would have been nice. Not that a 5/5 isn't nice. Oh, you're right. I could have killed the skeleton and that would have exiled it. I forgot that I was going to exile it, not going to lie. That was a misplay. Good call, good call. I will sack a sapling to gain 5 life. That is worth it. I'm in trouble this game. Flyers are not great for me. Tayova will do some work, though. I'm just gonna play this guy because this guy can do some attacking maybe. I need to keep up this plus the counter. My lands turning into 3/3s will help me out. Tayova's great. Okay. This thing having reach is the only reason I'm still alive. No. Sad day. Ah, the ultimate non-bow. I didn't think about that until I attacked, and then I realized that as soon as I did attack, I was like, oh, that's not great. But I do get the 1/1 still, so can't be that bad. What? They just surrender? See, this is the thing. You're not supposed to do this in the early access event because you're supposed to be able to see how all the cards play out. I guess I have a slight advantage on board, but do you really just... I feel like it's kind of like something you're not supposed to do. I've now had 2 opponents in this run do it. Again, I like to give them the benefit of the doubt, like maybe something happened in real life, but like this game is far from over. They've got a couple flyers. If they can like kill this thing with a removal spell, I don't know. It's just not a very satisfying, I don't know, experience for me. And I imagine it's not a great viewer-wise if you're just watching a game that would be interesting and all of a sudden just ends. But I mean, I got the win, but it just doesn't feel very good. Welcome to another round. This is definitely a keepable hand. We have all our colors. We've got 3 spells, 4 lands. But it is a weaker hand. Because we didn't have any creatures to play, but now we do. Yeah, so B Jurassic was saying that people sometimes quit when the board state gets too complicated. And I just was, in the event itself, you're generally not supposed to just leave for that reason. We are going to trade here. We can get it back with Urborg Repossession, and we don't want to take 1 billion damage. I could also consider Bite Down. I don't really want to use my 1 removal spell this early on their 2-drop. But yeah, generally you're not supposed to leave the event before everything can develop and the games can actually get played, so you can see the cards in action. It's just not as good. Okay, if they play a flyer, I can kill it. I haven't seen anyone play the 3-mana 2/3 flyer yet. That was a card I was very excited for. Oh my gosh. I am so good at top decking the creature I need right as I need it. Let's go. Why does this guy have reach? Oh, he's a tree folk. I thought he was some sort of spore guy. But no, he's a tree folk. He looks like a mushroom. I could have gotten Trixie there. It might have been worth it. So the reason... Okay, so let's just walk through the play that popped into my head, because I might as well. I could have attacked with the Namada. They double block. And then what I do...
A fight? And you think you can win?
Okay, which one do I get rid of?
Sacrifices must be made.
Okay, maybe I do go for the play now. I'm going to sacrifice the Sentry. And then I'll walk you through the play. So basically what happens is, I attack Liliana. They double block. I bite down on the Elvish Hydromancer, and then I sacrifice that token to buff this guy, and then I kill the Gibbering Barricade as well. And I think killing both of their creatures is better than killing the Liliana directly with the fight. Yeah, I did consider that, Gillo, but killing both of their guys has got to be better. I spent 3 mana to kill both their creatures. And now I'll discard a card. I'll just discard Broken Wings. I get to attack Liliana with a couple creatures. If they chump block, I'll get another 1/1.
Drop it.
Get rid of Broken Wings. Wow, they got rid of a 3/3 creature. What? There's a lot to consider here. My first line that I thought of was to play land, Urborg Repossession, back Tatyova. Play Tatyova, and then discard the other card to get back. But I don't have enough mana to do that, because I don't have enough green. So my second line of action is to play this guy. Discard Swamp. I guess I could have also played Urborg without Kicker.
Don't overthink things.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. This will be fine, though. I think. Liliana's dead, at least. So the reason I meteorited their 4/6 is now, because this thing has trample, I'm going to be able to kill the Liliana no matter what. And have an extra 1/1. So I kill this thing. No need to sacrifice it. Did I have to attack with the 1?
Whatever. Luck favors the foolish.
That's
after
the
all.
question. If I had not attacked with the 1/1, I'd have an extra 1/1. Was I guaranteed to kill the Liliana if I didn't attack with the 1/1? I felt like they might want to block both my guys. Put Liliana down, I guess. An extra 1/1 would be maybe a difference maker, but we can get back Tatyova and Elfane Worm. Are they getting back Liliana? Please no. Sure. So I'm going to get back Elfane Worm and Tatyova. not going to play the Tayova because I want to hold up my mana for this thing to activate on that. I could have gotten a 4/4 Magnet Goth Sentry, but I think getting the Worm is better. Sure.
If we must fight, I do know. Everything is coming together.
So if I draw a land, I just straight up kill this thing.
Our loss is Phyrexia's victory.
You just said our loss is Phyrexia's victory? Yikes. What is with me having Tayova and never drawing land? What is up with that? That is the best land I could have drawn. Oh, I would love Menace. Thank you. Trades are good for me because of my Namata. I'll get my 4/4 into play. Because I'm going to give everything Menace, remember? So I'm going to have a big attack. If they don't play another good blocker, that is. If they kill Namada, it does reduce my attack's effectiveness by a lot. Okay, that's fine. Ouch. If only I'd held up my mana, like I maybe should have. But it just seems so good to get the 4/4 into play. This Menace has been way more relevant than I thought it would be. It actually makes the card a very scary top deck. If I draw land, do I go for lethal? Okay, do I even have lethal now with a land? I tapped out. Okay, so that's probably lethal. I thought this was a +1/+1 counter, not gonna. Yeah, as I said earlier. So if I attack all, they go block, block, block. They take 5. Even if they block everything maximum, so they can block 11 and they'll still take 5. Got the win. That was an interesting game. We had that very cute play to kill both their creatures with our bite spell. We used our menace guy pretty well. We killed 2 planeswalkers, so pretty fun stuff. So due to the way the queue works when you're playing in these early access events, shout out to Wizards of the Coast for giving me a free preview account. The way these early access events work, it does make it tough to find unique opponents, but it's almost like just playing a best 2 out of 3 sometimes. On the draw, with only swamps, can I keep this? I've got my most color-intensive non-black card in my hand. I've got a card that doesn't do anything right now because I don't have a creature in my graveyard. I'm going to mulligan. They also mulligan, which makes it feel a little bit better. And then I'm going to get rid of the... I have to keep my removal spell. I want to have a 2-mana 3/2 Trampler on turn 2 as well. Magnagoth Sentry is a more reliable card than the War Leech at this point in the game, so I'm going to ditch that. So this hand is much better. Like, this is a really reasonable 6. And they also mulligan, so it's kind of fair as fair. I've been really impressed with the Iconoclast. The kicker ability has felt relevant. And I have some like ways to activate it, which is kind of cool. I don't really feel like making this trade. This trade does not feel good to me. I'm protecting myself from Liliana with this situation as well. There is some consideration to trying to just get this thing down. I'm not attacking because I don't want to. I want to make this block kill that thing an option for me. So I know this opponent. I know a little bit about their deck. When you're playing in sealed, you can use that sort of knowledge to your advantage. So I know my opponent's deck. I know that they have Liliana. So one thing that is just very good to keep in mind is my opponent here, like early in the game, I had the option to try and trade this 3-2 for their 3-1. If I had done that, it makes my 2-1 a lot worse, because now my 2-1 trading with this thing, killing that, is very powerful. So this card's a very key game piece now, instead of being just trading with their one guy. Also, because I still have my 3-2, I can threaten to trade here. So not only does this thing make this thing a lot worse, it also makes this trade a possibility, which is good for me because it's trading a 3-3 for a 3-2. And that just makes me in a better shape overall. Not drawing an untapped land there was punishing. Because if I could have deployed another threat, I would have. See, now they've also realized that they can just make that attack, and I'm not going to want to block, because this thing is still very relevant. I can't deploy this thing yet, but I can deploy this. But again, there's no reason to do that pre-combat. Okay, I will not use my removal spell yet. End my turn so that they can't Liliana Plus to really wreck me. Oh, okay. See, this is what when they have open mana, you don't want to just throw something out there, because I would have gotten my bite down taken as well. Once I have this thing in play. Okay. Now I will play my land, because that means that if I draw... I mean, because it gives me the option of playing Bite Down. Which is worth the downside of getting owned by Liliana, because they haven't played Liliana yet. And if they did have Liliana, then that's just how it would go. But now I have a 3-4 that can deal with that thing. It is a tad unfortunate I don't have an extra mana to give this thing potential +2/+2 to protect it from a kill spell. That was a really good draw. I mean, probably one of my best. Ooh, and then, because I couldn't cast this, okay. I think I still want to hold up a bite spell. There is some option to just attacking with the Iconoclast now. They have a good creature worth getting back. They have that thing. That's unfortunate. Because I could have done the, like, tricksy play if I'd had an extra mana around. Oh. Okay. Interesting. Sure. Nice. 7/7 for the win. We'll attack with my 3/2 now. Happy trading for the Hexbane Tortoise. Very interesting game at this point. Urg, spawn of Turg. I see. They can triple block my leech, which I think I would have done if I was them. Urg does give them a scry, which is useful. Maybe they don't feel like they can beat this card if it starts to grow out of control. But the reason I made the attack is because killing Urg plus a Hexbane Tortoise is pretty good for me here. It keeps my attack lanes open, grows this guy, prevents them from getting a nice scry in, essentially. It's funny that my really good draw, which was this thing, I guess getting rid of their broken wings was pretty good in the long run. Also remember that Meteorite can go face. So if I can get them down to 2, they are dead. If I still have this in hand at that point. Which creature would they get back? So now I have a reason to trade. And that reason is my Sengir Connoisseur will grow. And they don't have time to use this. Okay. So let's just imagine the attack. I attack all. They block there easily. Here they block with this plus this. This thing will trade with that. I will hit them. Alternatively, they've got a block there, so I don't think I can. I am going to play this Defiler. The question remains, do I want to play Meteorite first to zap them? And I don't think that makes any sense. They do have Urg, Spawn of Turg, which can sack lands to gain them some life. They have no cards in hand. They just have the Eerie Soul Tender as an option. They're drawing blind. Okay, they drew a 4/6, which is honestly pretty good, but then I have this thing, so we got the win. It's cool because we played a couple best of threes essentially by playing the same opponent twice, so that was 4 of our wins. And then we won 3 unique matches, and then we only lost 1 game. Wow, that was really cool. A lot of fun with that sealed. I was very, not pessimistic, but I was not overconfident in my odds of going all the way in the beginning because I only have 1 real removal spell. But it turned out that I was able to leverage that removal spell very effectively, and I was able to use my rares pretty nicely. My cards just synergized quite well, and I had some very cool synergies. I think the Monstrous Warleech becoming like an 8/8 when I flipped this, or a 7/7 when I flipped this, was very good, and makes the Monstrous Warleech a lot better in my head because I didn't think about that synergy when I was first evaluating that card, because there are some very expensive cards that are actually castable, which is cool. So its ceiling is not like a 5/5. Its ceiling is like a 7/7 or 8/8 with real cards you can cast. The Namada, absolutely fantastic. The Barkweed Crusher was honestly pretty nice as an attacker as well. My mana felt very good. I thought Crystal Grotto actually had a home in this deck. It even felt really good to use it to kick the Iconoclast sometimes. Yova was fantastic when I was able to draw those lands. I'm not sure how main deckable Broken Wings is, but there did seem to be some flyers running around. I never got to use it, but Espionage was great. Repossession was great. Honestly, Elfheim Worm, pretty great. And then other 2-drops, I thought the Lurgoyf was a very nice card. It would end up being a 6/7 a couple times, just pretty great card. I've used the word great a lot here, but I feel like this deck was awesome. Splatter Goblin, definitely really cool decision-making stuff there. And then Defiler Flesh, just a 4-mana, 4/4 menace, pretty good card. Overall, very happy with this deck. I think it was quite good. It was fun to play. The matches felt very interactive, lots of decisions to make, and I didn't really feel like I was just getting crushed before I could do anything meaningful. So that was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you were watching on YouTube and you made it all the way to the end, remember to hit that thumbs up button to help the video succeed. Subscribe for more draft content, and comment below with your questions, thoughts, and feedback. And to let me know you made it all the way till the end of the video, leave #trophy time, because this is my first time playing sealed of this format, and we got the trophy because we got all those max wins. You could also leave hashtag beating the Planeswalkers, or hashtag best of 3 master, because I did win 2 best of 3s in this one by going 4-0 against 2 of my opponents. But yeah, leave a hashtag, let me know you made it all the way to the end of the video. You can gain access to my thoughts on all of the cards with my card-by-card tier list for Dominaria United by finding the NicolaiBolas Patreon, linked in the description below. And you can also find my draft guide for the set if you're interested in draft content instead of sealed content. My draft guide contains all the information you need to help you do well in draft. Anyway, tons of cool content on the channel, tons of cool stuff coming up. I'm really excited for Dominaria United. I hope you are as well, and I will talk to you next time.